Live from the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into coverage of East Coast Conference men's basketball, streaming exclusively on Flow College. In the back half of tonight's ECC doubleheader, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Spartans of St. Thomas Aquinas College. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, once again joined on the call by Nicholas Bavona, and this is the McDonald's pregame show. McDonald's is our scoreboard sponsor here at CSI, and they bring you pregame coverage ahead of every CSI Dolphins home game. And Nick, the Dolphins face another tough matchup in conference play tonight. They faced number 2 Damon University on Sunday and will now face the last team to beat the Wildcats as they welcome the Spartans into the tank.
Yeah, and Joe, I mean, that was a matchup in the NCAA tournament, that matchup. And this is a Dolphins team that's trying to get their first win against Stack since they moved again into the Division II era. And you mentioned that last game that these two teams played, both teams scoring over 100 points, a thrilling matchup that they had back at Spark Hill. And the Dolphins coming off of that split on the road in Buffalo, the win at Deauville, the loss at Damon. A win tonight will put them into a tie for the number 2 seed in the ECC standings.
The Dolphins face the Spartans for the second time this season tonight, and you mentioned the first game was an absolute thriller. And if tonight's game is anything like the last matchup, we are in for a good one here this evening. Stack, they knocked off the Dolphins by 3 last month in a game that was suspended on December 6th and completed 4 days later. It was an excellent night shooting for both teams, but what is it that pushed Stack over the top and allowed them to secure the win?
Well, they got out to an early start in that game, Joe. They went out into the second half with an 11-point lead. The Dolphins cut that lead late in the second half, but it was Stack that was able to pull away in the final seconds. Great shooting numbers, as you mentioned, in that game. But what really worked well for them in that matchup was they only turned the ball over 8 times to CSI's 14. So that was a huge factor for them in that game. They had 22 points off of those 14 CSI turnovers, and big gains from Hearns, Landrum II, both with 25 points. Derek James added 18. Joshua Michigan added 12. Their starting five was a huge factor in that game and a big reason why they won.
The Dolphins have showed us many times that they can win flashy with lights-out shooting and electrifying transition offense. They've also showed us that they can win the grinded-out defensive game as well. On Friday at Deauville, they didn't shoot the way we're accustomed to seeing, but they protected the basketball and played the kind of defense that allows you to overcome poor shooting and pick up what was a big conference win on the road.
Well, they got a huge performance in that game from Ace Kone, Joe. He was the best shooting performance for the Dolphins on that night. 21 points, adding 13 rebounds. Aaron Goldstein had a double-double as well, 15 points and 10 rebounds. You mentioned the rebounding numbers were just enough for the Dolphins to get the win, 46-42 in that factor. And despite the fact that they weren't able to shoot from the outside arc, they got a lot of points inside the paint, which helped them in that win. So this Dolphins team, as we know and seen from a lot of years, if they can shoot from the outside, they are more than capable enough to go inside the paint. But what's been really helping them this season as well, transition defense leading to transition offense.
The Spartans picked up a win against the Dolphins back on December 10th, as we mentioned already. They followed that by beating Deauville at home 2 days later. After that, they went on to lose 6 straight games against some very tough opponents before snapping the losing skid on Friday at Roberts Wesleyan. Spartans have not lost to the Dolphins since 1979 and have won all 10 meetings against CSI at the Division II level, as you already mentioned. How can they look to keep that run of success going strong on the road here tonight?
Well, for Stack, I think first thing, forcing those CSI turnovers is certainly going to be a factor, and trying to make sure that the Dolphins still get up to a hot start, because we've seen a lot of times here at the tank, the Dolphins get out to a very quick hot start. It forces these teams to really having to adjust and try to set something up later on. If the Dolphins don't get up to a hot start, that will help Stack in this game, avoiding potential a second half potential comeback if they have to do so. And they're going to need their starting five to really contribute like they did the last time. I mentioned the numbers they had in the first meeting. In their last game for Stack, that being against Roberts Wesleyan, Hearns added 27, Derek James, 22 points in that game. But they were the only 2 Spartans in double figures in that matchup. So that's something to note. They really relied on those 2 guys to get them the victory over Roberts Wesleyan. They won the rebound in that game as well, 45-27. So we'll see if they get the job done tonight against this tough Dolphins unit. And, Joe, I look at it like this. Something's got to give for these 2 teams. Either CSI is going to get their first win against Stack in the Division II level and first win since 1979, as you mentioned, or Stack is going to end the Dolphins' undefeated streak here at the tank.
That is a good point as well, Nick. 2 lengthy runs on the line. And Nick, I think we're looking at 2 10-game runs, if I'm not mistaken. 10-0 for the Spartans against the Dolphins. And for the Dolphins here at the Tank this year, they come in with a record that I cannot locate right now. Is it 10-0, Nick?
I believe it's 9-0.
It's 9-0, so they're going for 10-0.
Yes, 9-0.
I had it in my notes. I had to flip to the right page, but we're all good.
Chance of 10-0 here tonight.
A chance to make it 10-0 here tonight. The Spartans hoping to make it 11-0 at the D2 level against the Dolphins.
And more importantly, Joe, a win for the CSI will put them into a tie for second place in the ECC standings. That's what really matters at the end of the day, because you would love to have that first-round bye potentially in the playoffs.
No question about it, Nick. You can't overlook the implications in the conference standings. But with that brief mix-up, we'll head to a quick break. And as we close in on tip-off between the Dolphins and Spartans, we will get a look at some highlights from Friday's CSI win at D'Youville. That's coming up in 30 seconds here on the McDonald's pregame show. Joe Foreman back with you alongside Nicholas Pavona. And as promised, here's a look back at the Dolphins' win on Friday night at D'Youville in Buffalo. Things get started with a really nice sequence for Mitchell Wiggin and the Dolphins. He gets a big block at the defensive end coming out of nowhere. He's then the beneficiary at the offensive end in transition as he knocks down the 3.
It's something that I mentioned, transition defense leading to transition offense. A nice job right there. You'll see right there, Kone with the missed offensive rebound, he gets the putback.
And that wasn't Kone's last putback. Here you see J.J. Chestnut look to attack. He can't convert. Kone, putback dunk on that attempt.
Well, speaking of dunks from Kone, how about another one right there? Throws it down with one hand.
Well, you mentioned how well he played in that game on Friday night. And those last 3 plays show you a big reason why. How about one more? An alley-oop from Goldstein to Kone for the lay-in.
How about this right-handed layup, I should say, from J.J. Chestnut.
And here, Brandon Torres on the outside, steps back and buries the 3. When the Dolphins get that from him off the bench, it's a huge boost.
And another big boost right there. Aaron Goldstein finds it right there for the N1.
1 and 1 there from Aaron Goldstein. How about another? Mitchell Wiggins splits the double team, hangs and hits. Count the basket and the foul.
You can count this basket too, Joe. It's an AG3.
And here you'll see Andrew Benedict from Kone as he falls to the floor. He didn't just score, he didn't just rebound, he facilitated there.
And he surely did this as well. Transition 3, he knocks down that triple.
How about one more from the corner this time? It's an ET3.
And then we'll see right here, Asa Kone doing great post movement work, gets that floater.
And speaking of good work around the basket, Goldstein gave up his dribble, found some room, and was able to bank it in.
How about Goldstein then? Another 3, something we've been so accustomed to seeing.
And the most recent entry into the 1,000-point club, J.J. Chestnut off the spin. He lays it in.
How about this pass from Chestnut? He finds Kone underneath. A really tough pass for the Dolphins right there.
Great look there from Chestnut to Kone, and Kone over the double team, able to bank it in right there.
Speaking of banking it in, how about Torres with that running shot?
And how about one more off glass? This time an alley-oop, Benedict to Torres off the window and in.
And then Mitchell Wiggin right here. Fadeaway jump shot inside of the paint. A big shot right there by him.
And finally, it's Eric Tynes from the mid-range. He knocks it down. Dolphins pull away late and win at D'Youville. But, Nick, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that we will be on History Watch tonight. I was about to say Record Watch. Not quite. First, we are going to have a presentation of the 1,000-point ball for J.J. Chestnut. So we'll throw it down to PA. I'll get behind the camera, and then we'll talk a bit more about tonight's milestone watch.
6 against Post University, J.J. Chestnut. That makes it the 36th member of the Dolphins men's basketball 1,000 point club, and just the third player in program history to reach the milestone, going to Dolphins Division II era. On behalf of everyone here tonight, congratulations, JJ! Let's have a round of applause for JJ Chestnut!
And we're back from the tank. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Nicholas Pavona on the call as we got a chance to recognize JJ1K here at the tank. JJ Chestnut reaching the 1,000-point milestone earlier this month. He received his 1,000-point ball at center court from men's basketball head coach TJ Tibbs. But Nick, from there, we move right into the introduction of starting lineups. You have those lineups for both teams.
We'll start with the Spartans of St. Thomas Aquinas first. You have Sterrell Hearns leading off number 2. Number 4, William Landrum II. Number 6, Derek James. Number 8, Jordan Green. And number 12, Joshua Michigan. For the Dolphins, number 1, Joey Poulin. Number 3, J.J. Chestnut. Number 10, Asa Kone. Number 21, Aaron Goldstein. And number 32, Eric Tynes. And Joe, I have to ask, did you just make up that moniker with Chestnut?
So it's actually funny. I arrived at the office the other night, well, now over a week ago, when JJ reached 1,000, and I said in a conversation among our crew, you know, I should have called him JJ1K. And then I got a text the following day from Joe Calabrese, our statistician. He had spoken with our former Sportsnet colleague, Nick Durst, and Nick actually had the same idea. And I believe he may have left it in a comment underneath a post about JJ's milestone. So I wasn't the only one who thought of it, but I did think of it in the office when we arrived back following the game. It's a shame I didn't use it during the broadcast.
It's tough to really think of that on the spot.
Yeah, but we knew he was close.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I should have thought of it. But regardless, Aaron Goldstein enters the night just 4 points away from 1,000. Many suspected he would get it over the weekend in Buffalo. He came up just short on Sunday and may have gotten there had the game been a bit closer. He came out for the final few minutes, and now he needs just 4 to reach that same 1,000-point milestone.
And the last time we got to talk to him, Joe, he spoke about the importance of playing here at the tank. And the way the Dolphins have been playing here at the tank this season has been tremendous. A 9-0 record, as we mentioned earlier on, a chance to make it 10-0 tonight. But there's a lot more at stake than going 10-0 on the season at home. You're trying to not only avoid a sweep against the SAC team in terms of you being swept, but you're trying to tie that conference record, and then you would be tied for the number 2 seed in the ECC standings. And that's what's the most important. The importance of that standing record is big because, as we mentioned before break, if you get a top 2 seed in the standings, you get that first round bye, and more importantly, you get a couple days off to rest and wait to see who your opponent's going to be in the second round.
Well, that bye, as always, is huge. And if you can get the 1, which is a tall task, but if you can get the 1, then you get the opportunity to host the semifinal and the finals. That is huge. If you get the 2, you're in a unique spot where you don't get a single home game.
Right.
As the 3, you do get a home game. As the 4, you do get a home game. So it's a very unique setup to the East Coast Conference playoffs. But if you're the Dolphins, of course, you're aiming as high as you can in terms of seeding. And I said it before, Nick, if they don't win this game, a top 2 seed is going to be really tough.
And, we had that scenario, remember, if you play out last year with the women's team. We were going through all those scenarios with them trying to get the 2 seed, and then potentially if they had a home playoff game here at the Tank.
Well, they did end up getting the 2 as Green was fouled underneath by Asa Kone. And if the Spartans can find a way to get Kone into early foul trouble and get him off the floor, that bodes really well for them in this game.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a big factor if they can get Kone off the court with foul trouble. And, we've seen this team a bunch so far this season, Joe. You went to Spark Hill and covered their last matchup, but we also saw this stacked team in the Tournament of Heroes as well. So we've gotten a couple of minutes to see, a couple of hours, I should say, to see this team up and close and personal. And I'm sure this Dolphins team, of course, is watching a lot of tape, trying to make sure they can figure out a way to get the win.
And of course, we talked about it already during the introduction of starting lineups as Green goes 1 of 2 from the line, but Joey Poulin back in the lineup for the Dolphins today, and it's good to see him back. And that's a big boost for this team as well. They were playing with a very short rotation on the road, but of course, Joey missed some time due to the passing of his mother, Marcy Poulin. And it's great to see him back out on the floor playing for the Dolphins tonight. CSI left with 15 to shoot. Chestnut with it on the wing. Tynes flips it right back to JJ. He gets a screen from Kone. Now Tynes thought about the 3, looks to drive, creates space, and knocks down the baseline jumper.
That was a tough shot right there, but you mentioned it. He created the space and had just enough space to knock down that long 2.
Dolphins take their first lead of the night, 2-1. James uses the Green screen. He pulls up on the baseline and knocks it down.
It's got a nice little ring to it. Green screen, but they got down that jumper, and now they go back up 1.
Well, you know what I say, Nick? Never a bad time for a rhyme. And then it makes you sound smart. Or perhaps cheesy. As Tynes can't finish. Good contest on the interior there. And now the Spartans look to run. Michigan right at Kone. And he gets the hook to go.
That's a tough play by Michigan. He goes one-on-one with a capable shot blocker in Kone, but he wins that battle right there. And a quick 5 points now for the Spartans.
And it's tough to think of it in transition as an offensive player, but with Kone already having picked up a foul, you get aggressive, you go right at him, maybe you force another.
And we talked about, the Dolphins have had so many quick starts to their games here at the Tank this season where if you're stacked, if you could try to slow it down in a way on defense and make sure that the Dolphins don't get some open shots, that's really going to help them in this game.
Kone hands off to Chestnut. 8 to shoot. JJ outside for Tynes. Now Chestnut for 3. Splash.
JJ 1K continues his 1K points, says he is over that mark. Of course, he knocks down the 3.
Chestnut ties up the score at 5. Michigan with his back to the basket. Works on Tynes and lays it in with the left hand.
Well, it's a little bit early in this game, Joe, but with the way these teams scored the last time out and the way they're scoring so far, we could be in for another high-scoring affair.
Well, that pass got away, didn't it?
Yeah, and remember, this is a really good, capable press defense team that we've seen over time, so the Dolphins have to find a way to make sure that doesn't affect them in this game as they commit a foul right there.
Well, the Dolphins have faced this Spartans press many times, and you have to think they're well prepared for it. But you said it, Nick. The pace at which the last meeting between these two teams was played was what I called neck-breaking during one of our recent broadcasts. And it was back and forth. As that free throw is good by William Landrum II. He had a really nice game, as you touched on during the pregame when these two teams met last time.
I remember the game he had, I believe it was against Assumption in the Tournament of Heroes that you and I called. He had an unbelievable first half. I think he had, if I had to look back at it, I think he had 20 first half points, if I'm not mistaken.
The last time he faced the Dolphins, he had 25. Sterrell Hearns also had 25. That final, 108 to 105. Goldstein, splash!
AG3 right there. Goldstein knocks down the 3. He's 1 point away.
He's now AG999. Doesn't quite have the same ring as JJ1K. And that shot from the corner is good by Michigan.
got the sense that it's going to be back and forth, as you mentioned before, as Michigan knocks down that triple.
Well, how about the intensity from these players early?
Yeah, I mean, this is a statement game for CSI.
Poulin wanted Kone, but Green all over that pass. And you know, Nick, there's always a nice crowd assembled to our right, but I just got to look over there as the ball went out of bounds. The crowd's a bit nicer tonight. Those stands a bit more full.
Well, as I mentioned, this is a statement game. This stack team, remember, Joe, they made a nice run in the NCAA tournament last year. CSI is trying to prove that they belong as a team to be represented in the ECC, and that maybe they can make a run in the NCAA tournament as well. Dolphins want a foul or something called. TJ Tibbs not happy.
Well, the Dolphins were upset that they allowed Landrum IV to get set between two Dolphins there ahead of the inbound. They created the space for him as Chestnut kicks out. Goldstein for 1,000. Not this time.
We'll have to wait just a little bit longer. He went for that long-range three.
Well, this building was ready to erupt as that corner three comes up short. And Kone was not able to reestablish himself in bounds.
Yeah, Poulin got the rebound, but he made a quick throw towards Kone, and just not enough for Kone to stay off the baseline, and Stack's going to get the ball right back.
Stack will inbound from the baseline with 20 on the shot clock.
Yeah, do you see AG1K when he gets his 1K?
It doesn't quite work. I missed the boat with JJ1K. Yeah. That was it. Green inside. Throws up an air ball, but Landrum II is there for the putback.
It might have been tipped by Kone as he went up, but the second chance points for Landrum right there puts them now up 6. And that's another thing for the Stack team, Joe. They have a lot of size on their team.
And you could hear the volume level pick up when Goldstein touches the ball. He better get it sooner. This place might not have anything left when he gets to 1,000. Goldstein into the corner. Chestnut back out. Goldstein. 4-3 for 1,000 career points.
AG gets his 1K right there. And how fitting, Joe. It's off a long-range three.
It is an AG 3 for 1,000. And the Dolphins are back to within 3 as Michigan travels.
And the tank is erupting. A milestone right there for Goldstein. We'll get a second look at it. Create the space. He found Tynes. Tynes found him once again for the 3. History maker right there for him. And the Dolphins forcing the turnover. Go into the media timeout trailing by 3.
And did I see some gold signs in the stands, Nick?
I believe we did.
Well, we'll call that shot good as gold as we head to break. Aaron Goldstein, the latest entry into the 1,000-point club for the Dolphins. CSI trails 14-11. And we are back from the tank where Aaron Goldstein got a chance to bask in the moment for just a bit during the commercial break. His team, though, with a tall task at hand against a Spartans team that they have not beaten since 1979, looking to change that. You know, Nick, the way the Dolphins have played as of late, if there was ever a time for them to get over that hump and finally knock off the Spartans on a night where Aaron Goldstein reaches 1,000 in front of a raucous crowd, that'd be a pretty good time to do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the crowd tonight, Joe. You know, it's always a great crowd here at the tank, but it feels like there's a little bit extra here tonight.
How about that find? As Poulin can't hit. But Goldstein with a nice feed there, setting up the open 3. Hearn swings it over to James. Now Green hands it right back to James. He looks to drive the baseline and pulls up, and once again hits that pull-up jumper.
Not an easy shot right there. Knocks that one down and puts his team back up by 5 points. They go right back into that press.
Andrew Benedict in the game for the Dolphins along with Mitchell Wiggin. Chestnut and Tynes to the bench following that last media timeout. This is Wiggin on the drive. He had it poked away. And the bounce pass goes through Kone's legs, tracked down by Poulin. Goldstein uses the screen. Now Poulin on the wing. Drives the baseline and puts one in off glass.
That's a tough basket by Poulin, and something that we've seen him do over the course of time too, Joe. Forcing that contact underneath the rim, and he gets that floater to fall.
Well, that was a nice feed, but Green couldn't control it. Benedict for Goldstein. In and out. And some friendly fire there on the rebound. I thought Wiggin may have taken it away from Benedict or vice versa. Landrum the second. Can't hit. Long outlet. Kone throws it down with two hands.
And rim-shattering play right there by Kone. That basket's still moving, Joe.
Rim rattling, hopefully not backboard shattering. We don't have a backup here that we could just roll in from the aux gym. Dolphins back to within one. Michigan on the drive. Bounce pass inside. James still has it. Finds Michigan up to Landrum the second. In and out once again. Wiggin ahead to Kone. He's there, and he is fouled.
That's a good foul right there, Joe, honestly, on that play, because that was going to be another, the backboard would have been shaken once again if he got another dunk on that play.
How about this action to get us started?
How about this pass by Poulin and a two-handed ferocious slam on the other end by Kone.
An effortless feed off the rebound. And Kone, after being fouled on that last dunk attempt, will head back to the line.
And Kone, the last two plays, finding a way to get up the court. And it's really tough for a man of his stature to get lost by this Spartans defense, but he somehow got lost, and he got those two transition plays.
Yeah, you said it, Nick. It's tough to lose a man that big out there on the court, but that's twice now that he's leaked out behind the Spartans defense, and you get the sense that's something the Dolphins have planned coming in. Off the misses, look to run.
We know they're a very capable team on the transition and trying to go with an up-tempo offense, and man, has it been that way to start this game.
Kone's free throw good. Dolphins lead it by one. Already 33 points on the board in 6.5 minutes. That one poked away from Hearns. He regains it. James, defended by Poulin along the baseline. He gets inside. The reverse won't go. Neither will the tip in. Igor Gonzalez was there trying to tip that one in. Now Wiggin for three. Can't hit. Gonzalez with the rebound. And there's another long outlet. Michael Parada in the game as well for Stack. Gonzalez, who checked in alongside him, was tied up. Jump ball forced. Possession arrow favors CSI.
And Joe, this is going to be really tough for you and I. The pace of play right now is incredible between these two teams.
Poulin from the baseline, inbounds to Goldstein. Goldstein across the timeline, defended by James. Screen from Kone. Now Benedict on the wing. Wiggin. That's Hearns all over him. Entry pass. Kone can't finish. James with it on the wing. Up top for Chapman. Off the spin, Parada gets inside and rattles it in.
How about that bounce right there by Parada? Knocks down that one on the one-handed floater.
Kone receives the inbound. The Spartans continue to pressure. Goldstein looking to use the Kone screen. Good defense there from James. Benedict, tough shot, won't go. But he's got the rebound. And an AB three.
A little bit of a look what I found after that miss too. Benedict knocks down the three.
A fortuitous bounce for Stack at one end, and the Dolphins get one of their own at the other end. That's Hearns, no good from three. Rebound pulled in by Kone. Goldstein up ahead for Benedict. Off the mark. Gonzalez pulls in the rebound. Dolphins by 2, just over 11 minutes to play here in the first half. Cross-court pass. Open man Chapman for three, and they'll call it a deep 2.
You can see Goldstein got a little bit confused right there. I don't think he realized that there was a player on the outside. A nice long-range 2 right there by Chapman.
Pulling for Goldstein. Ahead to Wiggin. Wiggin right to the basket. Lays it in.
That was not easy right there, Joe. A tough lay-in right there by Wiggin as this pace of play continues.
And for a player who gets going so quickly downhill towards the rim, he has great touch around the basket. And
speaking of great touch,
Derek James knocks down the floater.
He made
what
that
a start,
one easy, yeah.
What a start to this game. 2 East Coast Conference heavyweights trading blows through the first 10 minutes. Benedict off the fake, draws the foul, and puts it in. Count the basket.
Are you kidding me? Wow. What a play. Benedict taking a couple shots before that, going into that transition, and draws the contact, gets the N1, and we go to the next medium with the Dolphins now up 2.
CSI leads it 24-22, 10:16 to go in the first half. .10:16 to go in the first half, and Andrew Benedict heads to the line for one shot. And he converts the three-point play. Dolphins by 3 as we approach the midway point here in the first half. Parada inside for Green, and he was fouled.
Trying to go inside right there to Green, as you mentioned, and Tynes trying to force a turnover right there, but to no avail as he draws the foul.
Both teams with 9 made field goals in this game, but the Dolphins have 4 made threes. The Spartans just 1. As we have another foul call underneath, and if that's on Tynes
again, yeah.
That is a quick 2 personals on him.
And they'll more than likely have to stop immediately right back out, potentially.
See what they do with him here.
Looks like they're going to keep him in for now. They are trying to give Kone some rest.
And he's headed to the bench.
Yeah. And that's the right call. Unfortunately, they have to sub him out now with the 2 fouls.
Well, the Dolphins now get a bit small. With no Kone or Tynes, I think their tallest player out there, 6'4". But no matter there, as Parada couldn't finish over Poulin.
Good job right there by Poulin. Comes right into the game. A good defense.
And Poulin puts up an air ball. Last touch by Benedict. into the game for the Spartans. Jamal Hicks Jr. Anthony Daly also checked in. Parada, Green, and Chapman join them on the floor. 15 to shoot now. Chapman off the mark from 3, but Green has the rebound. Benedict ended up in the bench. Green thought about it and draws a foul inside.
Question is now, was that before he went up with the shot? I think he got tangled up before he went up with it.
I thought so too, but I took the signal from the official as 2 shots, and that indeed was the signal.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because he didn't go up with it when he was trying to go up.
Well, I know there were rule changes, and we heard head coach TJ Tibbs talking about that with the officials during a previous game, where if you begin your gather in anticipation of a shot, you are in the act of shooting, but Green misses the free throw. He's now just 1 of 3 from the line. Yeah, you could see him there. He was gathering to begin his move. I don't know this for a fact, but I suspect that with the rule change, that perhaps becomes a shooting foul. But I am by no means a rules expert, Nick.
And I'm not either.
Long pass ahead to Wiggin. He goes to work and lays it in.
How about the up and under he made on that play, Joe? Got the pass, immediately goes up and under, and he made it just look really easy on that play.
So under control, combined with a lot of aggressiveness in his drives to the basket. Parada dribbles back outside. Entry pass to Green along the baseline. Kick out. Daly defended by Chestnut, and
kick ball.
I don't think JJ needed to do that, Nick. Here's one more look at that move by Wiggin. Ball in the corner with Daly up top now. Parada. He drives to his left on Torres and draws the foul. Officials in the crowd are aspiring, Nick.
Definitely aspiring. I think you might be picking up what they're trying to say.
Well, in case you can't, they're chanting travel. We, however, are impartial. We do not aspire. What we do is question and then consult the replay.
Yes.
First free throw good by Parada. Aaron Goldstein back in for the Dolphins, replacing Joey Poulin. And that free throw rattles in for Parada. We've also seen crowds try their hand at forcing some missed free throws. Didn't quite get it that time. Goldstein just got that ball into Benedict. He's got it back. Working on the wing, feeds Benedict for 3. Short. And here come the Spartans right back the other way. From the wing, Daly a bit too strong. The rebound pulled in by Chapman. Hicks Jr. working on Goldstein. And Benedict almost poked it away. Now Parada with 8 to shoot, kicks out. Chapman over 2 Dolphins, and that's great defense by Andrew Benedict.
Yeah, Benedict was all around on that entire possession, Joe. Almost forcing the turnover with the poke, and then got right up on there on the very tail end and forced that to contested shot.
Well, I might have to ask Coach Tibbs about that look he gave his team coming back to the sideline. He was mean-mugging it right there, but in a positive manner, if you can imagine. Here's one more look at the last sequence, which got him to do so. Benedict and Torres defend well on the inside as the Dolphins force Stack to go up with an attempt late in the shot clock. 27-25 our score, 7:54 to go in the first half. Under 8 minutes to play in the first half from the tank. Dolphins have a 2-point lead over St. Thomas Aquinas College in the second meeting of the season between these two teams. Wiggin for Benedict for 3. No good, but Chestnut has the rebound.
Dolphins still with a little bit of a small court right here in terms of size. Wiggin being the tallest player they have out there right now.
And Spartans not a very big team either. This is Wiggin to the basket, and he can't finish off glass. Daly, way off. And a foul is called on Chapman. With just 3 team fouls on the Spartans, that's not the worst fouls. The Dolphins were looking to push. And I'll certainly ask Coach Tibbs how much of a point of emphasis that was coming in to play faster and to look for those long outlet passes.
And why it's also good of a foul, because now it forces the Dolphins to do an inbound pass and set up that press court defense.
Benedict brings it across the timeline. Goldstein going to work on Chapman. Gets around him and lays it in.
An acrobatic finish right there by Goldstein. Are you kidding me?
How did he put that in, Nick?
I don't know.
Talk about touch on the ball and some backspin to go along with it. Daly with it now. Kick outside to Hearns. He directs traffic. Chestnut with him. Now Chapman for 3.
Big answer right back right there by Chapman. After that acrobatic finish from Goldstein, he knocks down that 3 on the other end.
That's a big basket by Chapman. Goldstein gets it into Chestnut. JJ will bring it across half court with just over 6 minutes to play. Torres hands off to Chestnut. Now Goldstein. Step back 3. Off the front rim, no good. And Chestnut is fortunate he didn't get landed on, and I think Michigan is fortunate he didn't roll his ankle there. He almost landed right on Chestnut's leg.
Yeah, that was a very scary play, potentially almost underneath the rim, but thankfully everyone is okay. But let's take a look at that last made basket by Goldstein, Joe. I mean, it's still unfathomable to think how he did that.
That is some high level of body control and finesse around the basket. That is a tough shot, and Kone was fouled on the attempted alley-oop.
Quickly now, that's 5 fouls for the Spartans.
Well, maybe that foul they gave before wasn't a good foul, Nick.
You might make the case now.
Do I retroactively take it back?
Too late.
You know me. If I may be wrong or if I'm questioned, what do?
Oh, wait.
You double down. You double down.
I don't want to interrupt the play.
You double down. Chestnut couldn't hit the finger roll. And how about that? Hearns coast to coast.
Yeah, can't let Hearns do that, Joe. You know, he's a very capable score maker. 27 points his last time out in the win over Roberts Wesleyan, and we talked about it. Had 25 the last time these two teams met.
Spartans back in front by 1. Goldstein for Benedict. He goes to work on Hearns. Backing in along the baseline, and his turnaround jumper comes up short. Hearns at Benedict. Puts up an air ball. Benedict has been really impressive defensively in this game. We've seen what he can do scoring, but his defense has been strong in this first half.
Dolphins again forcing a foul now. Both teams have 6. So now the next foul for either side will lead to free throws.
Dolphins inbound with just over 5 minutes to play, and it's another long one. Chestnut is there, and he lays it in.
Touchdown right there for the Dolphins, Joe. How about that pass by Goldstein?
Wow. The passing from the Dolphins in this game on those inbounds have been impressive. That pass tipped as the Dolphins lose Hearns, and he makes them pay.
Yeah, that's the one guy you don't want to lose. Hearns knocks down that long-range 3 and puts his team back up.
there's one way to break that press. The Dolphins have found it. Spartans forced to ease off a bit. But Stack still shooting 48%. And right now, that's been enough to keep them in front. Chestnut gets the screen from Kone. This is Goldstein for three. That's off, and Poulin had the rebound and lost it on the way up.
Get a second look, Joe, at that inbound pass from Goldstein. Going the long way to find Chestnut. Chestnut with a nice light on the other end.
They're putting Pat to work upstairs.
They are certainly putting it to work.
They are testing our frame rate capability with that quick pan. I just spoke a foreign language to some of our audience. Goldstein with it. Out to Poulin for three. Splash.
Nice shot right there by Poulin and a good find by Goldstein. Both teams trading threes. It's back to a Dolphin lead.
CSI by one. It has been a back and forth first half. I was wondering where those stomps are coming
How
from,
about
Nick.
Poulin on that play?
Poulin, as always, giving great effort. And Goldstein finds Kone on the pick and roll.
Once again, defense leading to offense for the Dolphins. All around, great sequence right there for CSI.
Nick, did you hear that during the last possession?
I did.
I thought that was the microphone for a second.
No.
I was like, you certainly can't do that.
No. Let's look at that entire sequence, Joe. First, they try to go around him. Poulin with a great poke right there. He gives it up to Goldstein. Goldstein finds Kone underneath after that screen. Dolphins go up by 3 as we get to the media timeout.
3:35 to go in the first half, and the Dolphins lead it by 3. Our score, Staten Island 36 and Stack 33. Just over 3.5 minutes to play in the first half. The Dolphins currently lead the Spartans 36-33, but free throws have given the Spartans a chance to cut into that lead a bit. And Jordan Green hits the first. Now, Nick, take a look at your video feed. Is it a bit slow on your end, or is it just mine?
It doesn't look like it on my end.
Yeah, I had a bit of choppiness.
I saw it as you asked me that, too.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it on my end.
Dolphins lead it by 1. Goldstein ahead to Poulin. Bounce pass for Kone. He's got it, and he lays it in.
Oh, it took a little bit of time, but a good find by Poulin, and Kone eventually gets that lay-in.
Hearns on the wing. Picks up his dribble now and kicks out to Green. James uses the screen. Pass to Green, his fall-away jumper short. And that was knocked out of bounds by Hearns.
Okay, second look right there at that last play. Nice job by Poulin on the bounce pass underneath. Took a little bit for Kone to finally get the ball out there. Got tipped a little bit, but he's able to get the 2 points.
Well, you take a look across the board in terms of the stats in this game, Nick.
Look at
as I thought I might get a touch there. Now, did they see that across the way? I don't think they did.
No, I don't think so.
Kick out to Poulin for a deep three. Too strong. But as I was saying, Nick, across the board, this game evenly matched. As Cairo Rivera is able to finish in transition. Going to ask Coach Tibbs what will be the difference maker in the second half, because you look across the stat line right now and very, very similar. Oh my goodness, Nick.
I had to duck my head out of the way on that one.
What are we doing, guys? That's a brand new monitor in the middle of the table.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to save that one. We saved it the last game.
Well, I would hate to have the conversation with the finance crew, letting them know that our monitor was taken out by a stray basketball and that we need a replacement.
And I have the feeling, going back to what you were asking before, what might be the strategy of the second half.
As Kone goes up to block Green. He then rebounds the attempted putback by Rivera.
How about that play by Kone?
How good has he been? 2 of the last 3 games. Member of the conference weekly honor roll following last week's play. As that one is stolen by James, he lays it in.
And that kind of ties into what I think would be the things that he would like to fix in the second half. It's a couple of turnovers haven't gone their way, but I think also maybe slowing down the other side of things for Stack.
How about that screen by Poulin? And it sets up an AG3.
And how about that steal by Poulin?
And he is fouled. Look at TJ Tibbs on the bench. I don't know if you have that in our second camera, Nick. But he and the Dolphins coaching staff in a frenzy. They love it. And I get the sense, Nick, that his answer to that question will be that plays like that will be the difference.
Yeah. Look at the whole sequence right here, Joe. First, Poulin gets the screen. Benedict finds Goldstein on the outside for the 3, and then we'll see at the end of that 3, Poulin getting the turnover force on the inbound.
Well, I think my final question is going to be asking him how much he liked that sequence.
I fortunately don't think I got the celebration
the reaction?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, the bench was ecstatic. Poulin's first free throw, good. And the second will not go. Foul was called as well against Chestnut, and that will send Stack to the line.
Yeah, it's a foul. The Dolphins really can't give up right there. Already in the bonus, but one that we'll see later on if it plays a factor now for Chestnut. That'll be his second.
Will Landrum the second. Will head to the free throw line here. He's been held to just 4 points on 1 of 4. And I've covered him now 3 times this year, and in all of those games, he's had no problem hitting shots from the outside. Dolphins have held him to 0 for 3 from deep.
Yeah, very rare occasion that he hasn't done well tonight in this game. I mentioned before, earlier on in our Tournament of Heroes, he was a big factor in the Spartans and those matchups, and that last matchup as well against CSI, he was a huge factor in that game too.
He goes 2 for 2 from the line here. And there's another long pass, and Kone is fouled.
And Landrum not happy because he thought he had a clean block on the play, but the foul was called at the very tail end.
We'll get a look at it from in close, but if you're Kone, you have to be a bit careful there because you know that you have a chance to score. You have to go right at the basket. But with fouls coming in from behind, ooh, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
On replay, it looked clean.
Yeah. Don't know if I agree with that one.
Dolphins will take it, but cannot capitalize from the line.
And looking at the stat sheet as well, Joe, look how well balanced it's been between these two teams tonight. Only one scorer in this game has gone over double figures, that being Goldstein.
Goldstein with 11, Kone with 8, and for Stack, James has 8 as well. But that's it for the scorers with at least 8 points. And you look at these two rosters, Nick, it's 2 deep teams. And I think you get that a lot more when you see two teams like this come together. James, tough shot, won't go. He thought he was fouled. And with 1 minute to play in the half, the Dolphins look to push.
Dolphins might have had Poulin underneath the rim. They missed it right there.
Yeah, I thought they'd try and push it up the floor as Goldstein knocks down another from deep.
Well, they didn't have to push it because they got Goldstein with a wide open three after that move he made.
Landrum the second was stripped. This is Rivera for Landrum the second. Dolphins bench letting him hear it. And there's good defense from Kone on the inside. Benedict with it. And he turned it over nearly, but Chestnut got on it.
And there's a foul call before that happened. I think the foul.
And it's on Chestnut.
Yeah.
TJ Tibbs could not believe it, but I think they've changed the call, Nick.
I think you're right.
This is as animated as we've seen the bench all season.
Yes. Well, with the importance of this game and, with everything on the line for these two teams, the Dolphins want to have this one.
I think you're at a point where you look at where this Dolphins team is this season in terms of their performance, coming in 12-5. You look at what they've done at home, 9-0, and you have to ask yourself, if not now, then when?
Right.
They're playing extremely well. It's a big night in terms of the milestone for Aaron Goldstein. You have a great crowd. If not now, then when? And Chestnut's free throw goes in. A bit of suspense with that one.
Got very quiet as that ball was deciding if it wanted to go in or not.
Second free throw, no good. Rebounded by Hearns. And Stack can hold for the final shot. Nine seconds remaining in the quarter. James around the back pass. Chapman kick out to the corner. Rivera finds an open James, and he is fouled on a three-point attempt.
That's a tough one right there. Poulin committing the foul with exactly 1 second to go. And now going to the free throw line for 3 free throws is Derek James.
The Dolphins are very familiar with fouls on three-point attempts. I think we've seen Eric Tynes go to the line, fouled on a 3 4 or 5 times this season already, as they'll attempt to wet spot on the floor. That foul occurred with 1 second remaining in the half. So it is unlikely the Dolphins get a good attempt off, but you know what happens when you assume that.
Well, I think the only way it will happen is that one's missed. If that last free throw is hit, the Dolphins will have to inbound. So they would have to do another full court pass. They've done the inbound, but they would have to get a catch and shoot on it.
I don't think the Spartans would allow that. Michael Oyakanmi up off the Dolphins bench. As James misses again, the crowd delighting in his misfortune.
Yeah, James was very upset that bounce did not go his way. We mentioned the last game, Joe. That rim has not been friendly to any team shooting on that side of the court.
One more free throw here for James. And he goes 1 for 3.
And the Dolphins will call a timeout to try and draw something up.
James came in a 73% free throw shooter, but he only knocks down 1. And the Dolphins lead it by 5, 47-42 with 1 second on the clock in this first half. And as always, at halftime, we will be joined by men's basketball head coach TJ Tibbs for the TLC Physical Therapy halftime report.
Yeah, my question is, Joe, on this play, who's going to be the inbounder? And if so, who's going to get that shot, depending on who inbounds the ball?
Well, I think from what we've seen in this game, we know Goldstein and Poulin are very adept at that long pass. In late game situations, Andrew Benedict's been called upon to inbound in pressure situations. So we'll see if they line up multiple players in the baseline. That would be my guess. Yeah, that would be my guess.
Call it the good old 4 verts as we play. You and I are Madden players, so
Well,
Let's say used to be.
I use that term very loosely. I hardly play. As Poulin will heave it, and that one comes up about as short as my half-court attempt during pregame.
Wow.
It was not a good attempt. I was invited to take it by the men's basketball team, however.
All right.
Men's basketball head coach TJ Tibbs joins us courtside when we come back. And we are joined on the court by men's basketball head coach TJ Tibbs. Coach, let's start with those long outlet passes and the strategy to try and beat that press. How much of a point of emphasis was that in preparation? The team keeping their eyes up the floor and getting a lot of outlet passes and inbound passes over the Spartans press.
Yeah, it wasn't, but I trust the guys. We switched something a little bit from the last game or previous games that we played them, but I trusted them to make decisions. Always tell me before every game, you're gonna make a mistake, make an aggressive mistake. And they were very aggressive against it. It's well documented how good Stack is, so I don't care what anybody else is saying about the year. Like, as long as that coach is over there, that coaching staff, like, they're going to be a very good program, very good team, and very hard to play against. So the players are making some plays on their own, and by that, they're making the coaching staff look good.
Of course, Joey Poulin back in the lineup, and this bench was as animated as I've seen it during that first half. How much did you like that sequence? Hard screen by Joey, ends up in a AG3. He then steals the inbound, draws the foul. That got quite the reaction out of the bench.
Joey freaking Poulin. That's it.
Love it. One more question. This is a really even game statistically in that first half. What's going to be the difference maker in the final 20 minutes?
A lot of heart, a lot of effort. It's a great team. A lot of great shot makers. It's good basketball. It's honestly too bad that not enough people are here to watch two great teams in the region play. But we got to do a better job of making sure we get people out here to come watch us. But I love the fans that are out here and doing a good thing. They're giving us a good energy. So we need to finish. We need to be ready for a fight because it's going to be a hell of a second half.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. That is men's basketball head coach TJ Tibbs. Nick, he wants a sold-out pack tank. We have a pretty good crowd tonight, but not good enough as of yet. It is halftime from the College of Staten Island. When we come back, the final 20 minutes in this East Coast Conference men's basketball matchup.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
lot from him, and we've probably learned more from him than he's learned from us.
I think they're a real important part in my life. I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact is a national nonprofit that connects kids living with serious and chronic illness with college athletic teams, forming lifelong bonds and life-changing outcomes.
Give me a break it! Break it!
Can I have a hug? What's your favorite subject?
Math.
When you spread the word about Team Impact, you have the power to change lives.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
And we are back from the tank where the Dolphins take a 5-point lead into half number 2 over St. Thomas Aquinas College. Second meeting of the season between these two teams. And Nick, that first half certainly lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I mean, catch your breath and you might miss it. I mean, what a first half that was between these two sides. And we still have a whole other half to go between these two teams.
It was a lot of fun to watch. And we look forward to the next 20 minutes as just as the first half started, the second half begins with a foul, this one on J.J. Chestnut.
That's his third foul now, Joe, so doesn't note early in this second half to start.
And we've seen that multiple times in the Dolphins' recent games. J.J. Chestnut in foul trouble.
Yeah, he fouled out, remember, in that 1,000 career point night.
He was awfully close to getting stuck on 999.
Yeah.
First free throw is good by Derek James. James was the leading scorer for the Spartans in the first half. He had 9 points on 4 of 6 from the field, and he pulls Stack to within 3.
He's now officially the first player for the Spartans to get into the double figures tonight.
Dolphins do well to navigate the pressure on the inbound, and the alley-oop to Kone is good off the window. And Nick just slide the table back an inch. Yeah, we almost had another official spill over the table there.
Yeah, I think, wasn't one of the officials talking to you about that earlier on?
He was. He's on the far side tonight. He was a very good sport about it. He said he showed it to all of his friends. As Green knocks down the jumper. But for those who don't know, we had an official who was also on the crew tonight that tripped over the corner of our announce desk last year, ended up doing a belly-first slip and slide a few feet up the floor, sprung back to his feet, and continued calling the action.
Gotta respect the hustle.
I'm more impressed that he was able to slip and slide down the floor as Chestnut was blocked. It was a nice feed from Poulin.
Look out, and now Chestnut with 4 fouls.
Yeah, they let him stay in the game, and immediately he picks up number 4.
And he, of course, voicing his displeasures with that call right there.
Andrew Benedict up off the bench quickly.
And they'll play a good portion now with that foul because you won't see Chestnut for a little bit here in the second half.
Just 73 seconds into the second half. J.J. Chestnut relegated to the bench for what will likely be at least, I'd say, Nick, 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah,
minimum.
I was thinking 12.
Minimum. That's minimum. As James can't hit the pull-up. Offensive rebound, Hearns. Kick out to James. He feeds Green, and Green lost it on the way up.
Yeah, Green looked like had a wide open layup or dunk, but maybe that's why he missed it or lost it, because I think he was a little bit confused in what he was trying to do.
That looked like an easy 2 as Tynes knocks down the 3.
ET3, another one right there for Tynes. He's done a lot of that this season. It puts the Dolphins now up 6.
It's been a quiet night for Tynes thus far as that lay-in is good by Hearns.
Every time it feels like the Dolphins answer with a 3, it's a quick transition for the Spartans, whether it be a 2 or a 3. They just continue to answer back.
Benedict wound up on the floor. Goldstein with it now, tries a 3 and knocks it down.
Wow. It was an incredible pass first off by Benedict because he was on the court and had a bounce pass to Goldstein, and Goldstein rewarded him right there with that 3.
AB to AG for 3. This is Green inside over Kone, and he's short on the hook shot.
Another foul now on Kone. That'll be number 2.
And if you relax on Goldstein at all, he'll make you pay.
And you can hear the fanatics.
Well, this is exactly what I was talking about. Coach Tibbs wants not an empty seat in the house as Green misses the free throw. But you have a nice-sized, raucous crowd tonight. Keep in mind, Nick, the building is closed. Many students are not on campus yet. And you have a pretty good turnout tonight.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. You know, we've had some great crowds here at the Tank this season, but it feels like there's a little bit extra meaning towards this game, and you can see it with not only the players on the court, but the fans in attendance.
No question about it. Green goes 1 of 2 from the line. The Dolphin lead is 6. Goldstein into the corner. Poulin, way too strong. Hearns in transition. Lost the handle and threw it off glass. No good.
Yeah, he kept bobbling it up as he was trying to go up with it, but Dolphins get a nice break there.
Benedict inside to Kone. And he lays it in on the backhand.
And that's what's so impressive about his game, Joe. You know, he goes on the post move, but with that left-handed layup, not even looking towards the basket. What a tough finish right there by Kone.
From the corner, Green off the mark. Benedict has the rebound, tipped to him. Kone facing up on Green, had it poked away. Now Goldstein in the corner. Will try a three. No good.
Boy, the tank would have been electric if that one went down, but how about Poulin with the steal?
He's left open. No good from three, as the building wanted to erupt with that make. But Poulin earns the Dolphins another extra possession. This is Green on the drive. And his hook shot over Kone won't go. Goldstein for three. Off the mark, tipped by Poulin. Rebound pulled in by Landrum II. Here comes James off the big crossover, and he knocks down another pull-up.
James is a special player when he makes moves like that. Nice shot.
Goldstein off the spin, lays it in.
And speaking of special players, how about Goldstein? Another acrobatic finish.
And he gives it the flex after that basket. Kick out. And a jab step by Hearns. He spins. And he commits the offensive foul. And that will send us to a timeout. 15-19 to go in the second half. And Nick, the action has not slowed down one bit. Dolphins lead it by 8. Our score, Staten Island 59, Stack 51. And we are back with 15-19 to go in this one. Dolphins have built their lead up to 8 points early in the second half. And Nick, relentless, fast-paced action has been characteristic of this game from start until this point in the second half. It shows no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, and it's really a testament to these two teams and how well they've been playing all year round. And Coach A.J. Tim said that during the break, at halftime. Despite what Stack's record is this season, they're 7-9 this season, but they are 4-1 in conference. This is a well-coached team. They are well thought out, and they're showing it in this game. But the Dolphins are also showing that they can compete with the very best in this conference as well as maybe in the entire NCAA.
Well, you can tell when it comes to the fans and the coaches how much this game means to this program. As that's poked away, and the Spartans get out in transition. James around the back for Hearns, who drops it in.
That was just special right there between James and Hearns, and a great finish off that behind the back no-look pass.
And Nick, we've said it many times already this year. It seems like the only way to slow down this Dolphins team offensively is to force turnovers. If the Dolphins protect the ball, they're in a great spot. Benedict. Splash!
And I love the unselfishness of that play right there by Mitchell Wiggin, Joe, because he had a wide-open look for a long-range two. He drove inside the paint knowing that Benedict was going to be wide open for that corner three.
Landrum the second, tied up. He traveled. And the corner three is no good. Kick out by Parada. Big crossover there by Hearns.
Good defense by Goldstein to get right back.
He did well to stay with him. You're right, Nick. 8 to shoot now. James in the corner has Kone on him. Off the fake, Kone stays grounded. Now Michigan is fouled by Kone, and that's a bad foul.
That's now his third.
Well, the Dolphins can't afford to lose both Kone and Chestnut. Chestnut already on the bench with 4 fouls.
And here's that play before I mentioned. Wigan had an open look at the 3, maybe a long range 2. Instead of going that way, he went up in towards the paint, pretending to drive, and he found Benedict wide open for 3. That's a great play right there. Heads-up play by Wigan.
And Michigan finishes off glass.
And it's again another inbound play that really hurting the Dolphins. As a nice job by Michigan going right past Kone.
Quick execution off the inbound by the Spartans. They're back to within 7.
Kone looking for help.
He's got it from Goldstein. Now Tynes for 3. And how about that swat by Hearns?
Hearns could do it all, Joe. Defense now looking to maybe transition it into offense.
Well, when they say a shot is stuffed, that is what they meant. And now
Kone get his 4th foul right there. I think he
sure did.
Yeah. He'll now have to check out too.
Well, I said it after the first possession of the game, Nick. If you're the Spartans and you can get Asa Kone into foul trouble, you put yourselves in a great position.
And if you remember, Kone, after that first foul, did not have another foul the rest of the half. All of those fouls in the second half. He's got 3 in this half alone.
Free throw good by Hearns.
Joey Poulin will check in for him, so Dolphins will have to go small again. Tynes will be the effective big man for the Dolphins on the court.
Well, the 2 biggest Spartans that have gotten into this game, and Gonzalez and Green, are not out there. But Nick, as soon as the Dolphins are forced to make that change, Gonzalez heads right over to the scorer's table.
And he talked about it at halftime. TJ Tibbs mentioning how this is a well-coached team. They know that with Kone now on the court, Chestnut now on the court, they got to take advantage. Now this is the most opportune time for them.
Well, Gonzalez has Tynes, and if you can get him to come out on the perimeter, how about that fake by Goldstein?
Just
wizardry from AG.
A little bit of flashiness on that play by Goldstein. He's done it all tonight.
Well, we said this Dolphins team can win flashy, and that's in part what we meant. As Hearns answers right back, and he and Goldstein are going at it now, Nick.
Yeah. 2 of the top players in the entire conference, Joe. This is what you love to see in this type of a matchup.
Oh, they're going to isolate him here, Nick.
They're talking trash, Joe. I heard it from right here.
They're going to try and isolate him here. Goldstein to the basket. Draws the foul.
Joe, you got to love this type of a competition. 2 of the top players, they want to go one-on-one. We see it so many times in the collegiate level and the NBA. This is what it's all about. And Goldstein will now go to the free throw line.
This crowd is loving it.
TJ Tibbs giving a little bit of a pep talk right there to Goldstein. So we'll now go to the free throw line for 2.
Dolphins lead it by 4 with 12:46 to go. And have 2 of their key players, both starters, in foul trouble. Kone and Chestnut each with 4. As Goldstein hits the first free throw. Now the crowd letting Hearns hear it right now.
They'll bring Jordan Green back in for Gonzalez, who got the previous foul.
Hearns definitely hears them too, Nick. You can see him glancing over.
I got a sense, Joe, he's going to want the ball in this possession.
Can't get too carried away with that matchup, but it's definitely one to watch.
You can see it, Joe. He wants the ball.
Parada up top for Chapman. Now Hearns on the wing. Cross-court pass to James.
Bit of his own defense right there.
Hearns, short from the corner. And the crowd loves it, Nick.
And right again, it's Hearns against Goldstein. We'll see if they isolate him once again.
We need to find a name for AG's cheering section. As Goldstein knocks down another three.
That one was certainly good as gold. What a shot by Goldstein. The tank has come unglued.
And James tries to quiet the crowd as we head to immediate timeout with 11:58 to go in this one. The Dolphins lead it 69-62, thanks in large part to the efforts of Aaron Goldstein, the latest member of the 1,000 Point Club. He has 26, and we'll be right back here on CSI Sportsnet. Well, Nick, the crowd wants Darrell Hearns back in the game. He takes a seat on the bench right now, but he and Aaron Goldstein going back and forth, making for some entertaining moments.
Gotta love the friendly competition, if you want to call it that.
It's been nothing but friendly.
It's been a great, great contest, though. These fans here in attendance, the fans watching at home, they're being treated to a great game between these two teams.
Wiggin, bounce pass for Poulin.
Did he step on the baseline? No, foul.
And that last timeout was called.
That was immediate. Now we have a media.
This will become the media.
Can we think of some nicknames now while we're here?
Well, Nick, I have
You tried to last our break.
Ooh, you really don't want me doing this out loud on a microphone.
No, I know. It's tough.
I will say, Nick, if there was one way to deflate the atmosphere a bit, it's back-to-back timeouts.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It's a shame we don't have live chat. In the past, you and I have done a lot of games on YouTube for other entities, and we can always pose these questions to the audience.
Yes.
But there is a huge contingent tonight out supporting Aaron Goldstein, who scored his 1,000th career point. But we need a name for that cheering section.
And it feels like him scoring that 1,000 career point feels like an entire game ago. It doesn't feel like it was in this exact game. The way Goldstein has played tonight has been incredible. 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting, including 6 of 11 from the three.
It's been a lot of fun to watch, and we still have another year and a half of Aaron Goldstein in the Dolphins uniform. So a lot to look forward to for Goldstein and this men's basketball program. That being said, I think anything short of an immediate future that is bright is selling this team short. And a big part of that, Nick, is closing out this game tonight against a team that they've never beaten at the D2 level. We know how good Stack is. We know, as we mentioned during the pregame, they're the last team to beat Damon overall. However,
Damon's still undefeated in the regular season the last 2 years.
Did you know the last team to beat Damon in the regular season?
You know what was funny? I was looking this up and I didn't even notice it. What was it?
It was CSI.
It was CSI, okay.
It was in a game that I believe you and I covered.
I believe, yeah, that's right.
You, myself, and Nick Durst, I believe, covered that game as a trio.
That's right.
And that was the last time that Damon lost a regular season game. It was here at the Tank. The Dolphins beat them twice that year.
Yes.
10 to shoot for CSI. Tynes off the front rim and over the backboard.
Did not get the friendly bounce that time around.
Spartans will let it roll here, scooped up by James with 11.5 to go. James directing traffic as the shot clock ticks down inside 20. He swings it to Rivera. Now Parada out to Chapman. Green on the baseline finds James. He finds Rivera. Short on the three. And Benedict has the rebound.
Dolphins with that zone defense forcing that shot right there.
Wiggin out to Goldstein. Splash!
He is on fire, Joe. He is not missing. And Poland forcing another turnover off the inbound.
That's the third time he's done it. And Goldstein had that one halfway down.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
They would have maybe had an earthquake-shattering play right there, the way this tank is going right now.
Don't say that. We're too close to the bleachers. Parada out to Chapman. And that's a big basket for Chapman.
Huge shot right there. Big three. It's back to 7. And I mentioned it earlier, Joe. It feels like every time one team answers with a punch, the other team answers right back.
I was about to say that myself, Nick. You brought it up earlier. Every time the Dolphins have hit a big three, the Spartans have found an answer. Benedict. Bounce pass for Wiggin, who lays it in.
I've said it so many times this season. Andrew Benedict is playing like a guy that has been on the court for so many years. He's just a freshman as Goldstein forces the turnover.
Goldstein to the basket. Count it! And the foul!
It doesn't seem like he's going to miss it any time, Joe. He's just making every single shot that is going in, it looks like. And the Dolphins now have their largest lead.
Goldstein has 31. And the Dolphins now lead it by 11. And Nick, if the Dolphins do go on to win this game, this could go down as perhaps one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive, regular season performances in the Division II era.
Absolutely. And with so much on the line, I mean, you can make the case since they moved to the Division II level, as you mentioned, it's arguably the biggest win in program history.
Goldstein's free throw is good, and the Dolphins lead it by 12.
Still a lot of time to go, though. 12-point lead. You and I have spoke about this a lot, Joe. Game of runs do happen a lot. Dolphins have a run right now. Can the Spartans get a run with under 10 to go?
An eternity left in this game, Nick. And we know how good this Spartans team is. James on the wing. Gets inside. Finds Michigan. And that's too easy.
Well, with the Dolphins having to go small, no Kone on the court, they're going to that zone defense. And right there you saw it. Stack was able to find that little sizable space to find a way to get past that zone.
Pulling with it. Gets inside. And he was blocked. Another block for Hearns. And a putback for Wiggin.
Well, Wiggin does that so many times this season. Gets the offensive rebound, gets the putback, and the Dolphins answer once again.
Three-pointer on the way. Chapman can't hit this time. It's loose, and James has it. He gets into the paint and is rejected by Wiggin. Benedict for Tynes. Inside to Wiggin. And Wiggin traveled.
If Wiggin waited a second, Joe, he had a cutting pull in on the other end, but a travel right there, but still had a nice block on the other side.
And Goldstein now with 32 points after the made free throw earlier, Nick. It officially puts us on record watch. He's at 32 points. The Division II single game record is 38. He did break that earlier this season. I think he had 40.
I believe that was one of those games in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. I was going to say, I know he had 40 this year. Entry pass inside to a cutting Michigan. And once again, that's too easy.
And once again, it was off of that zone, and the Dolphins turn it over on the inbound. They have been pretty good tonight against that press defense, but right there, a bad turnover.
Well, that's a bad one, Nick. Those unforced errors are the ones that you have a tough time living with. Goldstein did indeed score a career high and Division II program record. 40 points earlier this year at Tampa.
That was
baffling.
Yeah.
It was baffling. They simply threw it away.
The players on the court were baffled by it, too.
Yeah.
Don't see that very
inbounder,
often.
and the Dolphins get it in this time. Now, I don't know if Coach Tibbs would give it away if it indeed was a point of emphasis coming in. He did hint that they saw something last time. Do you think it was decided upon pregame to try and get the ball down the floor a bit more aggressively?
I believe so.
Yeah. I'm not one to question taking his word for it, as Goldstein can't finish with the left hand, but it seemed like it was so well executed that it needed to be planned. I think this team could be that well prepared, as the three won't go for James. Wiggin fouled on the rebound.
And sometimes when you face a team a couple times in the season, you know, they also got to get to look at them during the Tournament of Heroes. That helps you a lot. And finding out those soft spots in the defense, figuring out what you can game plan as well going into these games. And the Dolphins have been very aggressive on the outside, don't get me wrong, but they've been more aggressive, in my opinion, inside the paint.
Well, the Dolphins also are shooting exceptionally well from the field, just shy of 52%. Spartans are shooting 47. The big difference right now, the Dolphins have hit 12 threes. They're 12 of 29. The Spartans are just 5 of 17. Of those 12 Dolphin threes, 7 belong to Aaron Goldstein, and his team leads it by 10 points with 7:40 to go. We'll step aside for a quick 30-second break, and we'll be right back here on CSI Sportsnet. Under 8 minutes to play from the tank, with the Dolphins holding a double-digit lead over St. Thomas Aquinas College. CSI in front, 79-69. And Nick, the Dolphins have been here before on their home floor. I think it was 2 years back that the Dolphins had a lead against Stack here at the tank. They could not close it out. And without 2 of their starters due to foul trouble, they hold a 10-point lead.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because some of the games the Dolphins have had this season in the second half, they've allowed teams to get back in this game, but they were able to close it out. So we'll see if the Dolphins can avoid that from happening in this one.
Wiggin out to Benedict, 8 to shoot. Benedict had it poked away. It's still loose.
Still loose.
Along the baseline, a whistle comes in, and the Dolphins will have 1 second to shoot.
So now it comes down to what do you have designed to try to draw up a shot with 1 second.
Well, you always have to watch for the alley-oop.
But without the size inside, do you maybe go to a Tynes on that play or Wiggin? Or do you try a quick catch and shoot for a guy like Goldstein?
I think most importantly, after a shot goes up, if it's a heave, you have to get back defensively. Benedict to Goldstein. He got it off, but it did not hit the rim.
A nice play design right there, but as you mentioned, just did not get it off the rim, and it's a shot clock violation.
Well, for that to work, you have to know that you have a long 1 second. Spartans have it again, trailing by 10, 7 minutes to go. Michigan tied up, finds James. Off the back rim, and the long rebound goes out to Chapman. Hearns bounce pass for James. He's met by Tynes, can't bank it in, and a foul was called, I believe, on Benedict.
I think it was on Tynes, yeah. That's his second now. Meanwhile, the Dolphins now have 6 fouls, so 1 foul away from the Spartans being in the bonus.
Well, fortunately for the Dolphins, they do not have another player with more than 2 fouls at the moment.
And a 5-second violation. So we've talked about it, Joe. The Dolphins having to face this press defense of the Spartans, but it's the Dolphins that forced the 5-second violation via the press.
Well, they've created trouble on a couple of Spartans inbounds now in the last few minutes, and there's a long pass up the floor. Hearns there with Benedict. Benedict's got it, can't finish, and Tynes is fouled on the putback.
He almost threw that one down, Joe. Big time play by Tynes. He gets fouled. He'll go to the free throw line, and now the Dolphins are one foul away from being in the bonus.
And just a brief note, that last foul was on Benedict. He and Tynes both have 2. And I think the Dolphins would prefer that versus Tynes having 3. As we get one more look at that last sequence.
Put Pat to work tonight with these passes.
Have to have your eyes up at all times, just like the Dolphins have on those long passes.
And when you're facing that press defense, you have to do that sometimes. You have to go up the court, try to find any type of space that you could possibly find.
And Tynes knocks down a pair of free throws to make it a 12-point game. James with it inside for Michigan. That's a tough shot by Michigan.
Didn't even look like Michigan was looking towards the basket. He pretty much just threw that one up and got it to fall.
Well, Michigan right now keeping his team within striking distance. Without his contributions, this could easily be a 15-point game. Goldstein with it. 15 to shoot. James defending. Goldstein on the drive. Gets inside and banks it in.
How many more times can I say acrobatic finish, Joe? It just seems like it's getting impossible for him to make these shots, but the impossible is being possible right now. It's just been an incredible night for him.
Well, Goldstein gets a certain look in his eyes when he's trying to take over a game, and he has that look right now, Nick.
And something that I'll note to you, I'll show it on the replay, but that's what's really been tough for this stacked defense here tonight.
And the Dolphins knock it off the leg of Daly. It will be CSI basketball. Nick, make your point.
And here's the point right now. You see Derek James. He's up against Goldstein on the play, but he felt the presence of Wiggin going up on the screen. And because of that slight hesitation of waiting for him on the screen, that allowed Goldstein to go right towards the rim. That's why he was able to get that type of a play.
Well, Goldstein's a player who is not only effective going over screens, as Poulin pushed off. That was clear. He's not only effective going over a screen to free him up for a shot or a drive, he's effective at finding a way to reject that screen with his tight handle, getting downhill toward the basket. You said it, Nick. When a defender hesitates with that screen incoming and Goldstein rejects it, he has the ability to get to the basket so quickly. It creates mismatches. It creates lapses defensively. James with it up top, 5.5 to play now. Chapman right back to James. This is Daly for 3. He can't hit, and Tynes has the rebound. Thought we might get a whistle there. They were all up in his grill.
Don't know if I've ever heard you say that term.
I must have at least once. we gotta keep it varied with your language.
That's fair.
Goldstein a wizard with the basketball. I'm a verbal wizard. Not quite the athlete. As Tynes can't hit the 3, but who else, Nick? Joey Poulin on the offensive glass.
Well, he's certainly an athlete when he went up with that rebound.
Well, they're trying to deny Goldstein the ball. He's got it now. 10 on the shot clock. Goldstein off the fake. Tried to draw a foul and almost got it to go. James up ahead. Pulls up for 3. No good.
And it feels like James' shot has just not been going in the second half as we get a jump ball tie-up right there. But it feels like James, Joe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he has just not been able to hit a lot of these shots here in the second half.
Amazing to see how TJ Tibbs shifted from his reaction to that jump ball call to communicating with his team. He turned his back to the court, turned around, and it's as if he flipped the switch.
Telling him to keep going.
4.5 to go, and the Dolphins lead it by 12.
Let's see if they go for another long pass right here on the inbound.
So this win would not only mean a lot in terms of the standings and it being the first win for CSI against Stack, but it puts you in the running for one of those top 2 seeds as the Dolphins turn it over.
That play by Landry II.
Now James for 3. And that's Chapman who knocks it down. That's a big shot.
Chapman's had a lot of big shots from the outside tonight. Another one right there. And it's back to a single-digit game.
Well, we've seen it before. The Dolphins with a late lead against this Spartans team. And Stack has found a way each time as Wiggin can't finish. And that's a really quick missed shot and rebound by Stack. And Michigan has the easy 2. TJ Tibbs will call timeout. And just like that, Nick, it's a 7-point game.
Just a brink of a couple seconds, and I think for Goldstein, really caught in no man's land right there. You either give up the wide open 3 or you give up those points in the paint. I think the wise play was to just allow that bucket to happen, but as you mentioned, quickly now a 7-point game and a timeout by the Dolphins with under 4 to go.
Well, you're in a position now with under 4 minutes to play, leading by 7, where you're still in control of this game, Nick. The Spartans will need a series of stops to get back in it, or to at least get back even and overtake the Dolphins. However, I think if you're CSI right now, you have Aaron Goldstein on your side. He's played so well. J.J. Chestnut getting set to check back in. You have to assume Asa Kone not far behind him. That's a pair of fresh legs coming off the bench, 2 pairs in fact. And if you're CSI, you have to find a way to execute late here and come away with the win. What do they need to do to make it happen?
Well, something that also should be noted, Joe, is we haven't seen Sterrell Hearns in a couple minutes as well. He's about to check back in.
Well, he has 4 fouls.
also has 4 fouls. So the Dolphins might be, the point of contact might be trying to draw him in foul territory, getting him out. I think at the end of the day, the Dolphins, that last possession was really one that forced the timeout. They put up a quick shot, allowed a quick rebound, and a quick bucket. They can't allow that to happen. They need to milk some clock now late in this game. With under 4 to go, you've got to find a way to get a couple possessions on the offensive side where you get into with under 10 seconds potentially, force up a shot, and hopefully you make it. But they need to also, on the other end, try to make sure that they don't allow any more inside points in the paint. But with Kone now back on the court, that should help a lot.
And you need to look at who has stepped up in the absence of Hearns, Nick, and it's been Josh Michigan. He's been fantastic in this second half. He's now 8 of 9, 17 points. And you have to think that if the Dolphins are going to come away with the win in this game, they're going to have to find a way to stop him.
Yeah. They go 5 wide again here on the inbound.
Pulling into Chestnut. Spartans will pressure.
I have not seen Chestnut since I believe the 17-minute mark of this second half. I was in second quarter.
We call a lot of women's basketball,
Yeah.
Nick. Goldstein on the drive, gets inside and lays it in.
I won't even see Hacker back anymore. You're right, Joe. He is a wizard. What a play.
Inside goes Hearns. He can't finish off back iron.
That's a dangerous play by Hearns. He could have easily gotten a call potentially for an offensive foul. But he misses that one wildly.
Dolphins lead it by 9. A basket here puts them up double figures once again.
Goldstein now 4 away from 40 in this game.
Kone sets the screen. Goldstein the other way, finds Poulin. Off the mark, Kone with the rebound. And Goldstein wisely taking his time.
And that's what I was talking about before. The Dolphins could have easily went for the shot right there, but instead, take some time off the clock.
Goldstein to the basket with the left hand, can't finish. And Kone's tip won't go. Here come the Spartans. Hearns to the basket. Finishes around Poulin.
Oh, man, what a finish by Hearns. Goes up and under past Poulin, gets the lay-in. He's now got 16. It's now a 7-point game again, and it's another timeout.
The presence of Hearns, a huge difference maker as he checks in late and immediately comes up with a big basket to cut the Dolphins' lead back to 7. Our score, Staten Island 85, Stack 78, 2:39 to go when we come back from the tank. .239 to go from the tank where the Dolphins lead by 7. Once again, it's 5 wide on the inbound. Poulin in control of it, finds Kone. Kone for Chestnut. CSI still with plenty of time as JJ dribbles toward half court, and Poulin almost had it stolen. Now Benedict will take his time out to Chestnut. 15 on the shot clock. Dolphins by 7, 2:20 to go.
Here's the matchup again, Hearns against Goldstein.
And this crowd is about to come alive as Goldstein crosses over. He finds Chestnut for the easy 2.
And you mentioned it, Joe. You just said it right there. That was easy for the Dolphins. Hearns looking for that screen. Goldstein made a nice move, and he found Chestnut wide open.
Dolphins by 9. This is James trapped along the baseline. He finds Michigan. He fakes, and he finishes.
Michigan, you mentioned it earlier, too. He has been so impressive here in the second half.
He has had a phenomenal second half offensively. Has done all the Spartans could hope for and then some. Poulin doubled, threw it away. Bounce pass to Michigan from Hearns. Timeout called by Matt Capel and the Spartans. How about that shift, Nick?
Yeah. Quick shift in momentum, and it's now a 5-point game, and that's where that press defense really is effective, Joe. This late in the game, a lot is on the line, and, also talking about it, the intensity of that type of a play. Poulin trying to get the ball up the court, avoiding that violation, and he threw it right to Hearns. Hearns made a great bounce pass underneath the rim and puts his team now within 5 with under 2 to go.
Well, if you're the Dolphins in this situation, a 2-possession game, 96 seconds to go, you can't turn the ball over, and realistically, Nick, I think you probably need one more made field goal to put yourself firmly in the driver's seat, then forcing the Spartans to foul. I'm not sure if you're the Spartans and the Dolphins score again that you have time to let another possession play out. So you'd expect the Spartans to let this possession play out. You're hoping for the stop. If you score with more than 30 seconds left, you then have the opportunity to play out one more and potentially tie the game or win it, depending on what you do with your first trip down the floor offensively.
And let's not forget, that last timeout, that was Sac's last timeout of the game. They have no timeouts remaining, so they cannot draw up any plays remaining in this one in terms of offense. They're going to have to do it their own the rest of the way.
And I think something else to keep in mind as well, with calling a timeout here, it gives you a chance to prepare for what you expect to see from the Dolphins on this inbound. A turnover in this spot is priceless. If there's something you've seen or something you think you can exploit to try and force another turnover here, you drew that up for sure. You have every player out there on the floor well aware of whatever it is that you saw.
You mentioned it earlier, too. These last couple of finishes we've had here at the Tank have been unbelievable, and we're going to get another great one here.
1:36 to go. The Dolphins lead it by 5, and they will inbound with 5 players lined up on the baseline. Benedict over to Poulin. Poulin looking, finding Kone. Kone has Michigan all over him. Throws it up to Chestnut. JJ's got it, and JJ lays it in with the left hand.
That had to be frustrating right there for Daly because he was trying to avoid giving up a foul on that tie-up right there. Because of that happening, Chestnut got up the court and made a nice play offensively.
Now, if you're him, do you sell out and dive after that ball? As that's a tough shot over Benedict from James.
Yeah, I mean, in some of the shots we've seen in this game have been incredible. On that play, Joe, I think the thing is also that foul would have put them in the bonus. I think you take that risk.
And Goldstein will call timeout.
It's tough to really say what you do on that possession. We have a look at it, and we'll see it here. Because had he not stopped, he might have had a play on the ball, but he was looking for a foul call potentially on Chestnut. Chestnut, because of that slight hesitation, was able to get that too. And now they lead by 5 after that last bucket, so we'll see what happens. Under a minute to go. Keep in mind, Dolphins did call a timeout, but Stack now, with still no timeouts remaining in this game, they've got to find out a way to try to draw up and find a way to get a turnover here in this spot.
Well, if you can't, the Dolphins are only in the 1-and-1 bonus. So if a player that you'd like to send to the line touches the ball, I think you foul them.
Now the question is, Joe, I'll ask you that. Who is that player you're looking to foul in this spot?
Well, you don't have to put me on the spot because I can go to the stat sheet and tell you.
The Dolphins have been pretty good tonight from the free throw line. That's currently stands.
Well, if you look at the players who are out there on the floor.
Benedict 1 for 1.
Well, the lowest free throw percentage among the players out there right now is Benedict.
Yes. The most important thing first is getting that inbound pass.
Pulling the inbounder, finds Kone. Kone bounce pass for Goldstein. They'll look to double him.
They got to get up the court.
And they do. Benedict is fouled, so
it'll be him.
If you're the Spartans, I think that played out about as well as you could have hoped for without a turnover.
Because now you put the freshman at the line, the biggest spot in the game.
But to your point from before, Nick, the Spartans cannot draw up another play without a timeout. So if you do get Benedict to miss a free throw here, perhaps the front end of the 1-and-1 if you're lucky, you have to go up the floor and ideally score in less than 15 seconds.
Right.
And Benedict gets the bounce on the first free throw.
Last foul charge to Michigan as well. That's his third now, but big bounce right there goes the way of the Dolphins.
And if he can get this one to go, that is huge. And Benedict makes it a 3-score game.
I mentioned it. He doesn't seem like he's playing as a freshman. Just cool, calm, and collected.
So composed. James to the basket, draws the foul, and
Kone's
that's all
done.
for Asa Kone.
So you think Tynes, who's been on the bench now, probably comes back in, unless they bring in Wiggin. It'll be one of those two more than likely.
See which direction they go shortly, as Derek James will head to the line for 2 shots.
Now, the officials haven't made a mark yet, but that was his 5th foul.
Well, nobody is responding as if that's his
They
5th
gave
foul.
it the gold seed. That's why.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, James has missed now 3 free throws in this game.
And that's been a big number in this game as well, the missed free throws for the Spartans.
Dolphins are 13 of 16 from the line. Stacked 16 of 22.
Wiggin getting ready to sub in.
And James hits the second. And Nick, these two teams have shot an identical percentage from the field. However, the big difference, the Dolphins have hit 6 more three-pointers.
Been a great number for them in that game. And keep in mind as well that they've only missed 3 free throws too.
Chestnut has it easily across half court and fouled. And Nick, the Dolphins can hit their free throws. They will do something they have not done since the 1970s and pick up a win over St. Thomas Aquinas College.
And they're able to hold on 10-0 here at the Tank as well. And a tie for second place in the ECC.
Dolphins and Spartans have both lost to the Wildcats and will have split against one another.
Dolphins, of course, still with that looming matchup against Damon later on in the season. Big matchup that day as well, with it being on Super Bowl Sunday.
Ooh, I wish you had just left it at big matchup looming. The Super Bowl Sunday part.
Yeah, it's tough. That is tough.
Yeah,
No comment.
It's painful to hear, Nick. I have to be honest.
I know.
Dolphins by 8, 30 seconds to go. James.
Trying to find somewhere to go with it.
He's tied up. Now Hearns for 3. Air ball. Goldstein has the rebound, and Benedict controls as he is fouled with 17.8 remaining.
And Joe, it looks like the Dolphins are going to be able to hold on in this game. And I made the point earlier, this might go down as arguably the biggest win the Dolphins have had since moving to the Division II level. Great all-around effort on both sides of the ball, but can't be remiss from talking about what Aaron Goldstein did in this game tonight. Scores his 1,000th career point and adds a lot more to it with 36 points and a well-deserved standing ovation and cheering for Joey Poulin.
Well, you look at what all these Dolphins did tonight. This was not about one player, although Goldstein's milestone is huge, and head coach TJ Tibbs sharing an emotional moment with Joey Poulin as he returns to the bench. This win means plenty, but
Yes.
Joey's presence on this team perhaps means even more with what he's gone through these last couple of weeks. And for the men's basketball program, it is going to be a historic win as the Dolphins are 10 seconds away from a victory over St. Thomas Aquinas College for the first time in over 40 years. Aaron Goldstein reaches 1,000 career points.
I'm sure you'll get to talk to him about what this game means, especially with everything that's going around, all the storylines. A monumental win for this program.
A huge win for the CSI men's basketball program as they knock off St. Thomas Aquinas College at the Tank. Our final score, the Dolphins 95 and the Spartans 85. Our TLC Physical Therapy Player of the Game, Aaron Goldstein, will join me courtside in just a few moments to talk about the milestone he reached, but even more importantly, his team's historic victory as they knock off Stack and Nick. As important as this win is in terms of the conference standings looking ahead and to this men's basketball program, it means nothing if they don't get the job done in the postseason.
Right.
Still plenty of time to come before we reach the playoffs if the Dolphins are fortunate enough to make it, but a lot of conference basketball in between as well. And you know that as good as this one feels for this men's basketball team, it's right back to work tomorrow for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it certainly is, Joe. Quick turnaround for this team as they go to Mercy in a couple of days, but we'll talk about it a little bit after you talk to Aaron Goldstein.
I will head courtside as Aaron Goldstein will join me shortly. The TLC Physical Therapy post-game report coming up next.
All right, we are back for our TLC Physical Therapy post-game report. My broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, is joined on the court by the newest member of the 1,000-point career club. It's Aaron Goldstein. Take it away, Joe.
Side by our TLC Physical Therapy Player of the Game, Aaron Goldstein. His teammates serenading him courtside following what was a historic night for the men's basketball program. And AG, you reached a career milestone tonight, threatened a program record that you set earlier this year, all on a night that perhaps was overshadowed by how important of a win this was for this team. How important was it to get this one?
Very important. You know, we play a great Stack team. We've never beat them before just because how good they are. So to come in and compete with those guys and to show what we got this year means a lot. You know, we're fighting for an NCAA tournament spot, and this is a big game in order to try and get to that goal. So, like you said, 1,000 points wasn't even like a thought in my mind because of how big of a game this really was. I mean, and yeah, we fought, pulled it out, and I'm proud of this group.
And I spoke to head coach TJ Tibbs at halftime. He mentioned that he thought the difference in the second half would be hustle and effort, bodies all over the floor, and we saw plenty of that in the second half. How important is that to this team and their identity?
Very important because their press brings a type of physicality that not a lot of teams bring. So to go up against their physicality and to bring our physicality means a lot, and that's how we get the win against those guys. So physicality, fighting, talked about it in the halftime. We got to bring the fight, and we did, and that's why we won the game.
Of course, this game plenty important, but a lot of basketball left to be played. What's next for this team?
To keep getting wins, keep working hard, to understand that this win means a lot to the program and us, but there's bigger goals to achieve still, and that's the championship, and that's an NCAA tournament spot, and we got to keep working every day in practice, and that's how we're going to get our goals. That's how we can get our goals.
All right, AG, thanks for taking the time. Go celebrate with your team. Congratulations on the milestone, and congratulations on the win. Aaron Goldstein, our TLC Physical Therapy Player of the Game. He gets a chance to go celebrate with his still unnamed fan section. Nick, you and I will work on that, but for now, I'll throw it back over to you at the commentary desk.
All right, thank you, Joe. And yeah, we definitely have some work to do trying to figure out a name for that section, but what a win for this club here tonight. We talked about it. Goldstein gets 1,000 career points. The Dolphins get a much-needed win, going to now a 4-2 conference record. They are now tied with Stack for that conference record. And we'll get a look right here at Goldstein celebrating with his fans, that section that, Joe, as you and I just mentioned it, you and I got to talk about it, try to figure out a certain name for that section, because they've been here every single night, every single home game here at the Tank supporting Eric Goldstein, and he put up a show for them tonight with his 36 points, a huge win. You hear that, Joe? His record still stands.
The record stands. Well, we didn't give him a shout-out, but we did cite the D2 record, which Goldstein set earlier this year. So a triply good night for Coach Tibbs. The 1,000-point milestone,
there was
the
at least
big
one
win,
record broken.
And his record stands.
Yes, they at least beat Stack for the first time since 1979, as you mentioned earlier on. And I think that's the most important thing for this ball club, getting the win against a team that you and I highlighted during the Tournament of Heroes. A team that went to the NCAA tournament. They were in the Sweet 16 last year. That's how far they go. And Dolphins beat them here tonight. It shows you that this team is trying to aspire. Goldstein mentioned it in the post-game report there. This team wants to win an ECC championship. They want to make the NCAA tournament. There's still a lot of games left in this regular season, and still a lot more games left in the postseason potentially, and maybe even further on going into March.
Well, this team certainly hopes so, and Nick, you and I expect to be there every step of the way. But for now, it is a 10-point win for the Dolphins as they knock off St. Thomas Aquinas College here at home. As you mentioned, Nick, they move into a tie for second place in the ECC, but it's right back to work this weekend as they visit Mercy. To be determined whether or not I'll be on that live broadcast audio only.
Yeah.
We'll see what my schedule looks like over the weekend, but until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Bavona on the call. Our final score, the Dolphins 95 and the Spartans 85. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, and thanks for watching.